Hello everyone and welcome to round number 4 of the 2013 Action Sports Grand Prix Championship Series. Round number 2 back in May was canceled due to extreme weather conditions, and round number 3 we unfortunately had technical difficulties, but we are back here for round number 4, ready for another exciting day of racing. A recap of round number 3 in the first session of racing. Points leader Sam Evans from St. Albans, West Virginia, in a heated battle with National Arena Cross star Willie Browning, fought tooth and nail for the win. In a last lap ditch effort pass, Browning put the pass on Evans. Evans immediately squared up Browning and beat Willie to the line by less than half a second. An exciting day of racing. We're gearing up here for another one as well. The sun is out, clear skies, warm temperatures. Track is in perfect condition. As we take a quick look at the point standings, Sam Evans is the points leader with a win at round number 1, the cancellation at round number 2, but a win at round number 3 gives him 2 wins in 2 races on the year and a perfect 40 points heading into today's racing. Tristan Landrum holds down the second place position in points with a 3rd at round number 1. Obviously no racing at round 2, and a 4th at round number 3 gives him 35 points, just 5 points back of Sammy Evans. And looking at 3rd place in points, the Yamaha mounted Chris Montgomery with a 4th in round number 1, a 3rd in round number 2, or actually a 5th in round 1, a 3rd at round number 3 gives him 34 points, 1 point back of Landrum. So we take a look at the Grand Prix 411, a 45 to 50 minute race on a 2.5 mile course combining motocross and woods here at the Action Sports Moto Park. The Session 1 classes for today: the lightweight pro class, the 125-200B, the 4-stroke lights B for 250Fs, heavyweight B, lightweight novice, open, decade, vintage for older bikes, and post-vintage for bikes 84 and earlier. The start is off. Isaac Walton on a new KTM grabbing the early hole shot. Judson Coakley on the number 7 Honda slots in the number 2 spot. Chris Montgomery back in 3rd on the Yamaha. Always a slow start on the Yamaha, but he's usually able to make it up. Looks like heavyweight B and open at row number 2. Looks like Joe Evener, a former local pro from the Columbus area, out to the early lead. Chaz Patton on the 559 Yamaha slotting into 2nd. Looks like this is the 200B and the 4-stroke lights B. Devin Byer, who was your round 1 and round 3 winner in the 200B class, I believe, off to early hole shot. 343 Jordan Strickland on the Suzuki slotting into the number 2 position. I believe heavyweight novice is up next. Actually, this is the decade class. Looks like the Honda mounted Mike Freese on the number 65, almost losing it, but he has a massive hole shot as he leads him into turn 2, which will bring up the lightweight novice class as our final row. As the green flag waves now, who's going to get the early hole shot in this one? Looks like Jacob Walburn off to early hole shot. Whoa, way on the outside. Dave Daytree on the 444 swinging way out into the grass as those riders file into turn 2 and get ready for this 50-minute race here at Action Sports. Here we go towards the end of lap number 1. Isaac Walton still out front. Coakley into the number 2 spot aboard that Honda. There's Montgomery right in the number 3 spot. So we wait for some more of our riders to check through. It looks like that's our novice and some of our decade riders. As we move back to another portion of the racetrack, it look like Andy Chapman and Jordan Strickland duking out different classes. Here we go with your open class leader, Joe Evener. Right behind him in the number 2 spot, Chaz Patton aboard the Yamaha. Patton 2nd place in the open class standings in 2012. Devin Byer from row 3 already up into the 2nd row as he passed up Keith Gwynn in the number 15. Here comes your leader in the 4-stroke lights B. That was Strickland that just went by. Andy Chapman, Brad Burt circulating through. Looks like our novice class riders. 777. Don't have a name on that. Right behind him, Isaac Parsons from heavyweight B class. We're in part of our motocross track. There's your leader from the decade class, Mike Freese. Freese also a competitor in the AMA Vintage National Motocross Series. Some more of our riders check in. Looks like Jason Andrews aboard the 848 in the Decade class. Right behind him, Isaiah Andrews. They're actually a father and son team. Looked like that was Michael Nutter right behind him. 73, Nick Rupert. I believe that's the 104, and it is Adam Preston, both of those guys from the novice class. I believe that's for just inside the top 5 in that novice division. Brent Cochran now coming down the hill as he heads up towards the finish line on the 722 Honda machine. Evans, Sammy Evans, not here today, as well as Tristan Landrum. They're competing in a different series, so that's why they're not here today. So Isaac Walton looking to take full advantage of it as he leads the way early. Moving on to your 4-stroke lights B, that was Strickland. Right behind him, Patton. And now 3rd place in your open class, Keith Gwynn on the 15. 4th place, Adam Chapman, that you just saw go through. That's the younger Evener, Joe Evener's son, on the 37 Honda. That's Taylor Evener on the 37, another father and son duo out here. The 44 machine, I believe that's Hickel, also from the 4-stroke lights class. We move back to the head of the pack. At the end of the lap, number 2, Walton still in the number 1 spot. Montgomery has now passed up Coakley for the number 2 position. You look towards about halfway through the second lap for the rest of our riders in the farther rows. I believe Nutter, Andrews. Whoa, Dave Daytree, hard on the brakes, missed the turn. Slick conditions down here in the bottom of the woods. This is a new section. He's going to lose a spot to Adam Preston aboard the 104. It looks like also Nick Rupert from the 73. No, he's just going to get going right in time. Brent Cochran now making his way. This is a new section down here for these guys. This is the first time they've had a chance to run it in. The 67 ATK machine. Don't see a whole lot of ATKs out here anymore. But that's Eric Steinberg, I believe. No, it's Marty Mullahan on the 67 ATK machine. We move now back to the head of the pack in the pro class. Walton, Montgomery starting to close the gap. Walton on a Kawasaki for years. Whoa! Walton dumps it right there at the end of the section. Montgomery now into the number 1 spot. Let's see if Walton can get the thing refired. It is a 2-stroke, so he shouldn't have any problem with it. He's going, but he's going to lose a ton of time and unfortunately the lead in the lightweight pro class. Coakley going through now. So he has fallen off the pace of the front too. So now the pro class looks like it's going to be pretty spread out. Byer on the 144, he's on the move right now, as he just passed a section where Walton lost the front end. And now Strickland into the picture aboard the 343 Husky. Strickland, a former winner. Looks like he's got Evener right behind him. That is Evener, the leader in the open class. Strickland has won motos before at the Lorettaland Amateur National Motocross Championships. As we see Keith Gwynn and Chaz Patton still duking it out for 2nd and 3rd in the open class. Back when Strickland was about 5 or 6 years old, he won a couple motos at the Lorettaland National Championships, and unfortunately one bad moto cost him the national championship title. That's Andrew Martin on the 777 Honda, with Andy Chapman and Isaac Parsons right behind him. Garrett Lauterball making his move up to the big bikes from the 85s. He runs in the lightweight novice class. There's the Suzuki that I mentioned before from the post-vintage class. So we see Mike Freese going through once again from the decade class. The Suzuki rider was Eric Steinberg. Jacob Walburn checking back in on the 314 KTM machine. I believe he runs 2nd right now in the novice class. Michael Nutter on the 147 comes through for the number 3 position. We're about halfway through the race right now. And there is Hickel on the 44 ride, the Yamaha machine. He runs 2nd year 4-stroke lights B class. Steve Osborne getting a little out of shape splitting around the tree. He runs second in the heavyweight B class. Right there on the 1993 Husky was Mark Cahoe. And there's Preston back to get on the 104. Daytree still not too far behind the 444 after he crashed going into the wood section. And there's Isaiah Andrews. Andrews, I believe, was your lightweight novice champion possibly in 2012. Nick Rupert. There's Montgomery. So Montgomery is now making his way into lap traffic. I believe this is lot number 4 that we're on right now. He's already passed up Brent Cochran, who runs in the novice class. We should be seeing Walton next, and there he is aboard the KTM. Coakley now still in third in the pro class, falling a little bit more off the pace aboard the Honda. Rider on the move right now is Beyer. Actually, he just checked into the finish a couple minutes beforehand. He's actually into the number 2 spot in the overall behind Montgomery. He is ahead of Coakley and Walton in the overall picture, and he's not too far behind. He's only 5 seconds behind Chris Montgomery in the overall standings with adjusted time. Strickland back there still leading the way in the 4-stroke lights class. Joe Edener in the 40-plus-year-old range. He runs a senior 40-plus class here at Action Sports. Every now and again, he's still running well. He runs 5th physically on the racetrack. Actually, make that 6th. We're back in for another lap of racing. Montgomery already through. Walton heads back up the hill. Another time to complete another lap. Coakley making his way down to the bottom. Makes the right-hand turn. He heads back up to complete another lap as well. And Beyer definitely on the gas in the 200. I believe that's a 150 that he's on. I don't even think it's a 200. I could be wrong, but Beyer continues to move up into the overall positioning. We're actually going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more from Action Sports. Welcome back to Action Sports, everyone. We continue here in session number 1 here at the Motor Park, round number 4 of the 2013 Championship Series. We take a look now. Jordan Strickland, still in your 4-stroke lights B class, still continues to lead the way as he is now into lap traffic, passing up Marty Mullahan from the Decade class aboard the ATK. Strickland currently running 5th in the overall standings with adjusted time. What adjusted time means for you guys, for everyone that is unfamiliar with the scoring system, you saw everyone start on different rows for the different classes. Like Isaac Walton right here started on row number 1. Jordan Strickland started on row number 3, so he had a minute disadvantage, a minute difference in time. But with the adjusted time thrown back in, he's actually improved on the times. He has passed up all of the open riders. He now runs into the number 5 spot in the overall picture. As Chris Montgomery continues to lead, we now wait for Walton, as I believe Coakley is coming down the hill, and there he is on number 7 Honda. So Walton should be up next aboard the KTM, coming out of view right behind the grasses. Garrett Lauterbach checking in from the 4-stroke, from the lightweight novice actually. Unfortunately his goggles are off, I'm not sure why, as Walton now comes through into the number 2 spot, heading back into the woods. Mark Cahill behind him in the 1993 Husky. There's Jason Andrews with Judson Coakley now checking in for 3rd in the pro class. Michael Nutter aboard the 147, making his way into the picture aboard, or I'm sorry, the lightweight novice class. He was actually passed up Walraven on the 314, so now Nutter in the number 2 spot in the lightweight novice class behind Andrew Martin. Montgomery once again back in at the end of the same lap. This is an 8-race series here at Action Sports, and so far Sam Evans leads the way in the points. However, he is not here today, along with the number 2 man in the points, Tristan Landrum. So Chris Montgomery should take over the points lead after today's racing. More of our riders go through. Adam Preston, there's Garrett Lauterbach once again. And here comes Beyer. Beyer still within that 30-second range from where he started. Or actually, he's on the minute range as well from when he started. Or I'm sorry, it is 30 seconds from where he started on row number 2. He is within striking distance of grabbing the overall lead. There's your novice leader, Martin, aboard the 777 Honda. Gwynn now checking in for the number 2 spot in the open class. Right behind him, it's still Patton. Patton misses the gear. He drops into a false neutral, so that's going to cost him some time behind Gwynn. And right there in 4th spot, not too far behind, Andy Chapman with Isaac Parsons leading the way in your heavyweight B class. And Brad Burke checking in also in your open division. We have, I believe, about 2 laps to go. There goes Taylor Ebener once again with the 37 Honda. Montgomery back in once again, leading the way in your pro class. Walton, it looks like he's settled into a pace right now. He doesn't look like he's he gave some sort of sign to our cameraman. It looks like he's just settling into a pace right now. As Isaiah Andrews continues to roll aboard the 848 Yamaha. I believe that was Montgomery that circled around once again. There goes Walton aboard the 449 KTM. And Coakley back in once again in the number 3 spot. So it's pretty much spread out in the pro class. Beyer goes through once again. He's still in the overall picture. He might be able to pass up Montgomery from row 2. He hasn't passed up physically yet any of the pro riders, but he's within that time range for the adjusted time after he started in the 2nd row to possibly pull off the overall win. An amateur has yet to win an overall out here at Action Sports with the pro riders, and Devin Beyer is very well on the verge of doing so if he can keep his pace up. Keith Gwynn looks like he might have settled into a pace now. Andy Chapman aboard the 398. He is still on the gas, and he has passed up Patton now aboard the 559 Yamaha. And Brad Burt still in there as well aboard the 639 KTM. We continue to roll. There's Mullahan once again on the ATK. Fortunately, ATK didn't really stick around too long. They had a few bike issues that they weren't able to get around and able to sell the machines. But it's kind of rare finding those things out here. Even though I'm sure there's a few people that have them in the garage. Obviously, Mullahan does. But I know they're out a lot more in the vintage scene. As the white flag is now out, there's Montgomery with the lead. Walton now cresting the hill aboard the KTM, as he'll check in for the number 2 spot. So with one more lap to go, Montgomery out front, Walton into the number 2 spot. Coakley is still in third. The question is, can Beyer still close up the gap to take the overall win? Rupert is through, Wallace is through aboard the number 10 Honda. Montgomery heading for home. He's going to make the final turn. Checkered flag is out. Chris Montgomery with the win here at round number 4. So that's going to give him his first win on the year in the lightweight pro class. Isaac Walton should check in for the number 2 spot. The question is, can Beyer make up enough time to get the overall win on adjusted time? Brent Cochran almost taking out the scoring tent as the riders continue to roll through. There's Eagner, Brad Bird. We're still waiting on Walton, it looks like. There's Walburn checking in for the novice class. Prix on the Honda from the decade class. There is Walton, so he will take second in the pro class. Still waiting on Coakley in the 3rd spot for the pro class, and Beyer. There's Coakley, Beyer right behind him, so obviously Beyer with the win in the 200B class, obviously 3rd overall. We just got word, 2nd overall. He missed the overall win by 6 seconds. So a tough break for Beyer, but he does get the 200B class win. As there's your winner in the Porsche Lights class, Jordan Strickland. The rest of our riders check in for the finish here. Mullahan aboard the ATK checks in for the finish line. Pickle comes through. A lap down in the Porsche Lights class. I believe he had some problems, but he still will take 2nd in the Porsche Lights class. Isaiah Andrews checks in on the 848. That's going to give Chris Montgomery his first win on the year. This was Walton's first race of the year aboard that KTM here at Action Sports. A long time on Kawasaki's. He picks up a new KTM ride courtesy with Sports Cycles. And that's going to do it here for session 1 at Action Sports. Montgomery, Beyer, and Walton, your overall podium. We thank you for watching.